करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
So the term Vedanta is derived from two words, Veda and Anta. Veda plus Anta refers to the end portion of Vedas, which is the Upanishads, which is the essential source of all wisdom, and that is referred to as Vedanta. Also, the pun on the word Vedanta is that Anta is end or culmination of all knowledge. Veda is knowledge and Vedanta is the culmination of all knowledge. Culmination means you have known that knowledge after which nothing else is to be known. So this also can be taken as the knowledge of one's own self. So that's what he said in the beginning, the author said in the beginning of the first chapter, that the intrinsic value of all the humans is this infinite self. But humanity is not aware of this. They are not aware of this. And therefore, we are searching for that elusive thing called happiness in the external world. This external pursuit, which we will see in detail later where it comes, broadly in terms of acquisition and enjoyment is the chase that all the human beings are doing. You want to acquire wealth and other things and you want to enjoy. Broadly, we can say it as in terms of artha and kama. Artha is referring to wealth and kama is referring to enjoyment. But both these things per se are not going to give us any satiation. So if we want to derive that inner wealth within us, the basic thing is that we need to understand what life is. So therefore, next he is going to talk about what is life.
Life is defined in Sanskrit as Anubhava Dhara, stream of experiences. As long as experiences flow, there is life. When the flow ceases, life is extinct. An experience is therefore a unit of life, constituted of two factors, subject and object. The individual, you, is the subject, the world, the object. When you contact the world, subject meets object, you gain an experience. And the flow of experience is life. One class of thinkers worked upon the object world to provide humanity with greater peace and happiness. They were the scientists. Science has made a colossal contribution for human welfare. It has developed the world to near perfection with press-button comforts. Nevertheless, people are not as happy as they should be. In a perfected world, there seems to be only worry and anxiety, suffering and sorrow everywhere. That is a paradox. Another class of thinkers investigated the cause of the paradox. They were the ancient sages living in the Himalayan ranges. These great philosophers analyzed the anatomy of an experience and discovered that the subject, the individual, was unattended, neglected to a point of fault. While the world was well taken care of by science, consequently, the unprepared individual lived in stress and strain in a world of plenty and prosperity. The sages thus focused their attention on the subject, the individual, and gave out the sublime philosophy of Vedanta, the knowledge designed to rehabilitate the individual to perfection. Subjective development prepares the individual to meet the challenges of the objective world. Human beings alone are faced with the dilemma of choosing their actions. They need to exercise their choice of action every moment of their life. All other creatures have a computerized, preset program of action. They do not have the problem of choosing their action. A tiger cannot become a vegetarian, nor a cow become a meat eater. They are constrained to follow a course of action to suit their particular nature. Vedanta equips you with the knowledge to make the right choice of action, also provides you with a technique of action. A technique you can apply in your home, in your business, in society, everywhere. It gives you a practical way of life to satisfy your material and spiritual needs. Following that course, you enjoy prosperity with peace of mind.
The pursuit of all the end of all our pursuit is happiness. So let us say some of us try to sit here early in the morning, try to study this text. Ultimately, we also want happiness or peace of mind. See, some people may not directly say that, but vicariously or indirectly, that is that only. Whether a person wants to go to a movie and enjoy, or whether a person wants to go to a temple and pray, both are seeking solace, both are seeking, you can say entertainment, you can say time with family, you can say money, you can say knowledge, I want knowledge. But through that, we are actually pursuing a sort of a satisfaction, a peace of mind. So therefore, each and every improvement of the world has been to this end. See, it could be done out of certain dire necessity also at any point of time. Okay. See, there were certain inventions that were necessitated during, let us say, First World War or Second World War. Certain things came up. Okay. At that point of time, to win that war or to strategize something to defeat that enemy was actually very compulsory or very essential. If that was not there, probably the life was in danger, or probably the victory could have been very delayed, or various other things. But ultimately, if you relate it to that, they want that to be, helping them, satisfying them. So, at various points of time, various inventions, various techniques and technologies, they have been constantly improving the facilities and amenities in our life. So, whether it was an invention of wheel in the beginning or a plow or whatever it is, there has been constant improvement of this facilities. After a substantial improvement, when the study was made as to whether the human being's happiness quotient has increased because of that, there was no definitive answer. So one set of people actually studied this phenomenon. They were also scientific in their studies. They were called as the rishis. And the rishis were subjective scientists. They withdrew themselves into, like any scientist would require a lab, they withdrew themselves into the Himalayan valleys and jungles where probably they did this sort of inquiry and research. And then they came up with startling conclusions to understand what life is all about. So, if you want to improve life is a very generic term. All of us, we can say, what are you doing? I am trying to improve life, you can say. But what is exactly life? What do you mean by improvement of life? So, if you want to improve something, suppose you want to demolish and build a wall. If you want to improve the wall, then you need to focus on the material of the wall. The material of the wall or the unit of the wall is the bricks. So if you are able to improve the bricks, brick means brick includes all other cement and all other matter also. If you are able to improve the quality of the bricks, then automatically the wall has to improve. Exactly like that, what is the unit of life? If you are able to understand and focus on the unit of life, the whole life has to be improving. So some people say life is very good, life is boring. What is it that they are actually referring to? Boring or jolly or nice, or what is it that they are referring to? So therefore, life has to be understood, and the rishis defined life as Anubhava Dhara. Anubhava Dhara means flow of experience. So experience becomes the unit of life. We have experience here now in this classroom. Then you have the experience in maybe breakfast. Then you have experience of office. Then you have experience of whatever, meeting. Like that, there is a series of experience. One experience leading to another experience is called as a flow of experience. Flow is called as dhara. Dhara means a continuous flow. So continuous flow of experience is called as life. So what is life? Life is a flow of experience. Then the next question obviously is, what is experience? Experience is essentially made up of the two components called as the subject and the object. Subject plus object coming together is the experience. Any experience you take, that you take eating an apple as an experience, listening to something is an experience, watching a movie is an experience. So there are two things. You are there and the movie is there. You are there, apple is there. You are there. This experience need not be just at the physical level. It can be emotional experience also. You are feeling love for your friend or hatred for somebody. All that is also experience. So you are there, the other person is there. That is the object. That connection is through the feeling, and that feeling is a negative feeling or a positive feeling. That is the experience. So experience is essentially coming together of subject and object. And then what they found out was, if you want to improve the experience, both these things has to be improved. Both subject has to be improved and object has to be improved. Object is the world. What you experience is your world. And then they found out that only one aspect of the experience is improved, which is the world. So constant focus has been only to improve the world, and without a corresponding improvement of the individual, the resultant experience is not going to be effective. You can have facilities and amenities, as you mentioned, press button comforts, everything is there. But you must know how to derive that benefit from it and enjoy from it. That is not the case. So, if a person's health has to improve, he has to improve the quality of the food, obviously. He has to improve the quality of the nutrients and other diet that he is going to take in. But merely having the food placed on the table, but having no appetite to eat it, how is he going to improve himself? Not possible. So he has to improve the food from outside. He has to improve the appetite from inside. Appetite is that hunger, that wanting to eat and wanting to enjoy the food I am saying here. So you do exercise, you do pranayama, whatever you do from inside to improve your health. You also improve the food quality from outside, then necessarily it has to result in good health. Exactly like that, you have to improve the facilities and amenities of the world, plus you have to improve the thirst for life, the appetite for life. And that is from internal, that is a subjective improvement. So this is what the rishis found out, that with all the facilities and amenities, and this is very visible of late when I say the last few centuries culminating in the 20th and 21st century, the technological and other advancement has been phenomenal, and it is in a geometric progression. Like that, it has. We cannot even imagine that the same generation 20-25 years back lived even without a mobile phone, but it has now become an integral part of our lives. Like that, so much has been the drastic changes in the last 110, 50, then 25 years. Like that, it is exponentially growing. But each and every generation, they are told that the previous generation was nice, with only satellite televisions it was nice. Otherwise, before that, it's black and white television, it was nice. Only 2 channels were there, Doordarshan, that was nice. or a radio commentary alone was there. No way to even watch the cricket match. That was very nice. Not even radio. Only one time they will go and see a movie in touring talkies like that. Or you go to that grandfather, there was no electricity also. But we were enjoying. So within 3, 4, 5 generations also we hear the stories that with all the comforts, why is it that where you are supposed to be more cheerful, more happy and more enjoying the life, why is it not happening? This is where it is that the world is improved, but correspondingly the individual is not improved, or rather is neglected also. So the author says here, the world is improved by scientists. So world is made up of wealth, people, nature. So you have economists who work on how to improve wealth. You have different type of scientists who work on nature. It includes everything, the chemistry and the biology, everything for that matter. And when they say people, it is system of rules and governance and politics and various things. So all these things are attended to, but what is not attended to is the individual. Therefore, they said, if objective science is the study of the world, then the subjective science is the study of the individual. And study of the individual is called as Vedanta here. That's what he says. The subjective development prepares the individual to meet the challenges of the objective world. Now, why is it that we need this knowledge about the individual? Is that he says, individual alone is confronted with choice. No other creatures, they have this dilemma of choice. Their life is well set or well programmed right from the beginning. So they have to lead that life in that way. There is no problem for them. But we are confronted with choice at every moment of life. There are various junctions in life where you take major decisions. But apart from that, at every moment also there is a choice. Whether to attend today's class or not, like that is also a choice. What color dress that you will wear today, that is also a choice. What you want to eat today, that is also a choice. Of course, then whether to marry or not marry, whether to continue the marriage or divorce a person, these are all you can say as very critical choices, or whether to be a vegetarian or non-vegetarian, whether to take a science group or commerce group or any other group, whether to start a business or not. These are, we can say, some of the definitive choices. And not only that, it is not that once you are fixed, it is not, later you can change that choice also, but we are confronted with that. But this type of a choice animal doesn't have. You cannot, can you ask if you have a pet dog or a cow or anything like that, what is your plan for the next 10 years? And what do you visualize something for life? These type of questions do not occur for them. It is for humans, it is for us, and that is the paradox. We said in the beginning that we are given the highest status in the pyramid of evolution. But you are also given this choice by which you have to maybe make the path for yourself. Other creatures are protected by nature, as it were. We are also protected by nature, but that has to be accessed through the intellect, through this choice. So, if we do not develop the intellect, then we will not be able to make the right choices. The choice, generally, if it is made from the level of the mind, it is chance. Incidentally, this year's Guru Poornima talk by Swamiji, I think it's in July 18th, Sunday. Live by choice, not by chance. The quotation that we used to put in the invitation cards, and that is what it is. So you will find that for past few years, the emphasis of Swamiji has been in and through various lectures about the importance of development of intellect, and that is what it is. You live by choice, not by chance. By chance, something might happen. we might even achieve success. And some people, it is not that I'm not saying they are lucky or something, that they may not be able to correlate the cause and effect well, but they continue to learn. But Vedanta says consciously you understand the power of your choices. So what you need to remember here is mind chooses on the basis of pleasure and pain. Intellect chooses on the basis of right and wrong. This is the basic difference. Mind chooses on the basis of what gives me immediate pleasure or immediate pain. Intellect chooses on the basis of what is right or wrong, irrespective of whether I like it or not. Mind says that this is pleasurable, therefore it is right. Intellect says this is right, therefore it will be pleasurable. It may not be pleasurable in the short term, but ultimately that is what is going to be pleasurable in the long run. This is the clarity that we must have in terms of intellect. So intellect chooses on the basis of right and wrong. And what is right for you has to be pleasurable for you. Remember this. See, the whole idea of study of Vedanta is to lead us towards happiness. So if we are going to say, throughout the life you suffer, throughout the life there is going to be not any scope for enjoyment, there is no scope for any happiness, but someday, sometime, maybe after your death, you will reach Kailasha or Vaikuntha, and then you will be there with God all the time. You will say that is all fine, but I am not for some going through extreme misery and pain throughout when I am living here. Everybody wants cash, right? There is no such thing as future. I want something hard cash now. So Swami Ramatirtha says Vedanta is cash religion. Cash religion means you have to enjoy it as you go along, and then obviously it should lead you to the final destination also. But in order to gain that in this world also, just give yourself some time. That's all it is. It immediately means it is not that like mind, I eat a sweet and I immediately get pleasure. Not like that. But if you give yourself some time to understand with clarity what is the purpose of the intellect, the journey is going to be definitely very enjoyable also, and the destination is also the peace. And then he says, so therefore it gives you the technique of right action. If people are saying that they are wanting money, success, which are all the immediate things. See, suppose if you are why do we not even get, not just here, in general I'm saying in terms of Vedanta, substantial crowd or something like that, it is because people have respect for the knowledge. People do want, they understand the value of Bhagavad Gita and everything. But their immediate preoccupation and priority is different. I have to first look into the career. I have to make money. I have to settle myself. All these things is their preoccupation. To that person, you cannot really say, self and Atma and other things. So, but Vedanta only says, fine, you pursue whatever you need to pursue in this world in order to achieve success in the world also. In order to achieve harmony in the relationship also, you need to learn the technique. So that can be put under what is known as practical Vedanta. In the Vedas also, they talk about Veda and Vedanta. Veda and Vedanta means Veda is one only. Vedanta is part of Veda. But Veda refers to the Karma Kanda, which is talking about the actions and rituals and various things that you perform. So in the good old days, all the worldly activities are also combined into it, right? So first you are taught about dharma, to do actions in the world, and then you are taught about Brahman. Brahman is the supreme God, that is Vedanta. So a person needs to be taught the technique of right action in the world, by which he is able to enjoy success and progress in the world. As he does that, he is also given the idea of what is the purpose and what is the ultimate aim of the life, etc. So then there is probably a gradual and a smooth transition towards this. Otherwise, without this idea preliminary in a little way, there is no guarantee that automatically a person is going to take to spirituality as he ages. There's no guarantee like that. Very many people may say, after retirement, I'll take Bhagavad Gita. But when it comes to that age, it is not so automatic or something like that. Because at every stage, there will be some preoccupation or the other. See, the pangs that parents may feel, a couple, husband and wife may feel after some years of marriage that they want a child. There is a itch, there is a, longing for that. We might not know. Then we say all this is part and parcel and natural feelings. All that may be right also. But the same pangs you may feel for getting a grandchild later. The same pangs you will feel for getting a great grandchild later also. So there's no guarantee in the sense that once your son and daughter is married and everything, now I have only no other time. I have to just focus on Vedanta. It doesn't. Point is, if there is no preparation before, it is not going to be a smooth transition like that. So there will be some preoccupation or the other. Bhajagovindam says, Balastavat krida saktaha, Tarunastavat taruni saktaha, Vrittastavat chinta saktaha. There will be some preoccupation. The old day man will be worried and anxious. The youth is worried about passion, caught up in passion. The child is caught about in the playthings. So actually, there is no specific time where you are caught up in Brahman. He says, Parame Brahmani kopi na sakta. So therefore, if you want to achieve success in the world also, why don't you align that with Vedanta? That will be much more easier and productive. I do not know if there are new people, but if there are any questions or anything along the way, please raise the virtual hand and you can ask. Otherwise, we continue reading with the portion of the book.
Vedanta, the base of religion. Vedanta is known as Sanatana Dharma, meaning eternal principles. It is systematic knowledge which gives you the true insight into life, draws you towards your innermost core, provides you knowledge that reveals your real self. Your real self is essentially divine, be you sinner or saint. Divinity is the core of every person. Vedanta helps you identify your divine self, attain your absolute state of peace and bliss. That is the goal of all religions, to discover your true nature, unfold your real self, draw the divinity out of the matter layers that veil it. Etymologically, the word religion means that which binds one to the origin. In Sanskrit also, the term yoga means to unite with the self.
The name that we can use for Hinduism is also Sanatana Dharma. There's nothing wrong in calling ourselves Hindus. That is also correct because this was seen as something which was practiced on the other side of the river Sindhu, and from there others began to call us collectively as Hindus. But what was being practiced here is generally called as Sanatana Dharma. It is interesting that this name, as we call as Hinduism, which came much later, there can be a question as to why was there no name given for this religion. And if we understand this from the point of view of where the questioner is asking, almost all religions in the world, they have a name, and that name is mostly after the founder's name. Christianity is after Christ. Islam, of course, the meaning could be different, but it's after Prophet Muhammad. That's why some people call it as Mohammedanism also, but that is all in the old books. Sometimes it's written like that. Whether it is Buddhism or Jainism, like that it is. But why is that our religion did not have any name? Paramacharya gives a very beautiful explanation. He says that if only, see, suppose if you want to call a particular person in a class, his name is Ram, and only if there are more than one Ram in the classroom, you need to put an adjective before him and to call that specific person. So one Ram can be short, or you can say the short Ram, or the tall Ram, or the white Ram, or the son of Krishna, that Ram, or something like that. You can say only if there are many people with the same name Ram. But if there is only one Ram, why should you put any adjective? There need not be any adjective at all. This is the scope of the example. Like that it is. When only one thing was being practiced in the natural way, why should there be any name at all for that? There was no name as any ism or something. Only when something has to be separately identified from the other, there has to be some name or the other. So when you say, I am not a Hindu, and you say, I belong to this ism and Zoroastrianism and this ism and that ism, various ism, vis-a-vis this will become Hinduism. Okay, that is not the scope. But the original name was Sanatana Dharma. Name means it is the way in which it is described. Sanatana means eternal. Dharma means principles. So Sanatana Dharma refers to the eternal principles of life. We saw in the chart that science is there. Science is a collection of laws pertaining to the world and universe. It is not confined to any particular region or a set of people or any particular time or anything like that. It is universal in nature, isn't it? When you say law of gravity, it is applicable for all. Whoever could have discovered it, but it is applicable for all. That is law of gravity. Like that, all the collection of laws in various fields is science. Like that, there are various laws which govern the universe internally also. All this collection of laws or dharma or principle, these are pertaining to the law of nature. Like that, how it functions is called as Sanatana Dharma. And he says that your self is essentially divine, no matter how you appear to be. The essential core of our personality is divinity. Not just humans, all creatures, everything is potentially that same divinity. But when we use this only for, generally we use only for human, because the human has the potential to understand it and achieve it. Outwardly, you can be a sinner or a saint. Your body, your mind and your intellect, which obscure the self, has expressed itself in a different way. And for somebody else, it's in a different way. I think it may come later in this book only. There's a shining brass pot. Two pots are there. One pot is exposed to external atmosphere in a wrong way, and it is oxidation. Because of that, it appears very dark now. Because on the brass pot, certain things have got deposited and it has made it dark. Another pot has not been exposed to the wrong environment. It is shining. But essentially, that shining is the nature of all brass pots. One brass pot appears black, another brass pot appears shining, but the original quality is that of shining only. If you use hard sandpaper and brasso and other techniques that you use it on that brass pot, that will also regain its shine back. These brasso and other techniques do not bring the shine, they only remove the dirt. So exactly like that, if you are able to remove the dirt, then your original nature, which is the self, reveals itself. The process of understanding our original nature is called as a religion. That is the essential meaning of religions. See, we need not go into now the analysis of various religions and what are their characteristics, what are their points of, you know, common things, and what are the points of differentiation. Various things can be analyzed and they must be understood at certain level. But what we can appreciate is that each and every religion is saying that you need to do certain things, you need to improve yourself, and you need to achieve that peace and bliss. You are really not, to your fullest potential. You are suffering. And therefore, you need to be relieved of this suffering. And that you may call it by any name. You call it by salvation, you call it by liberation, you call it by moksha, mukti, various things. So, one of the essential purposes of religion is to take human beings to this. Now, if you etymologically look at that word religion, which is derived from the original Latin term, it is to unite us back to the self, to join back, to go back. Re plus ligare is to get back to the self. That is called as religion. And the term that we use in Sanskrit is even more a beautiful word called yoga. Yoga means union. It is derived from the root yuj, which is to join. So all the efforts, join means the implication is that we are not joined now. We are separated. So it is a separation that we feel from the original self, and all attempts to get back to that original self is called as yoga in Sanskrit. That is why we have the karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga and other yoga. At present, yoga could be sometimes used to refer only yogasanas, but that is a surface usage of the word. Even in the Ashtanga yoga and other thing, asana and other things forms part of your spiritual journey only, and only then it becomes real yoga. Otherwise, it is just exercise. You can call it by any other name. Aerobics is also an exercise. It is just not at the physical level. There will be impact at the physical level if you merely do it at the physical level. That is different. But it is an integrated practice which is going to take you towards the self. That is called as yoga. So yoga and religion are both referring to the union with the self. That is the essence. And this is what is essentially the theme of Sanatana Dharma.
Furthermore, Vedanta excels in its scientific exposition. It expounds the truth methodically, logically. It does not rely on the authority of a preceptor. Its truth is its authority. No master or messiah can claim it. No religion has a hold on it. It belongs to one and all, bears no distinction of caste or creed, community or country. Its universal application appeals to all lovers of truth. Vedanta trains you to think independently, helps you probe into the essence of the human personality, directs you to study, reflect and realize the fundamental truth of life. Thus, in the past, generations after generations put in effort to discover the real self. Later on, some spiritual enthusiasts brought about their own abridged versions of truth. They were well-meant but feeble readings of the original truth. People began to follow their teaching blindly. They lost their independent reflection and judgment. Spiritual education was no longer liberal. The masses were led by the opinion of others and fell a prey to authorities. In the name of religion, fanatic superstitions and parasitic ideas infested humanity, which has plunged people in ignorance, and the world is steeped in sorrow and suffering.
See, the book, The Fall of the Human Intellect, which is sort of a recommended book as the first book to even get ourselves prepared for Vedanta Treatise. Because, as I said, those books were written later. Vedanta Treatise is the original book, but it covers the fundamentals. In that, the one of the earlier chapters is the different stages of evolution of the world itself. So he's talking about the age of perception, age of observation, age of scientific inquiry, and the age of contemplation, like that. You can map this into the development of an individual also. Um, Even as a child is born, it is just looking at certain things. That's all. It doesn't even register what it is. It's like a perception. Then when so it is related to merely the physical or the body activity. And when the mind develops, then there is something that it correlates and it gets into certain feelings, but it is not substantial in terms of correlating the cause and effect. So that is the age of superstition. And then comes intellect. When intellect is developed, you get into the age of inquiry. So if leaves rustle and the rain falls, and you say every time the leaves rustle, the rain has to fall, that is on what basis? We do not know. If the cat crosses and if a person dies, let us say, then you say because of the cat that person dies. On what basis? We really do not know. All these things. So what is that is superstition as it is. So, but what is the reason behind functioning? That is where the intellect comes. Why is it that water has to boil in certain temperature? So then understanding of the melting point or boiling point, all this is part and parcel of unearthing the laws of the world. That is scientific inquiry. Substantial scientific inquiry has been happening for many centuries now. At least particularly in the last 2-3 centuries, there has been very many awakening all over the world. It has been there. And then comes the age of contemplation, which can correspond to the subtle intellect, where you question the very laws itself. When you say that science can make you understand that the law of gravity is, let's say, fixed at 9.8 meter per second square. But why is it 9.8? Why not 10.8? That question nobody can answer. But that type of thing will lead you to contemplation as to who fixed like this. So you are going to the causeless cause here, the cause behind everything. That search, that inquiry. So this is how it corresponds. Now, why I was reminded of that chapter is, he says, furthermore, Vedanta excels in scientific exposition. If many centuries back, if there was people had that simplicity and sincerity, I'm just saying in terms of their lifestyle also, and you told them you have complete faith in Jesus Christ and Christ will save you, and if you believed in it, it will work actually. Because what is more powerful than Christ is your faith in Christ. That is more powerful, and that faith is unshaken. Come what may, you will have that faith. In fact, if you have that sort of unshakable faith in anything, nothing else is actually required. But very difficult is to have that type of faith. And particularly after we are progressing scientifically, each and everything is now delved deep into, and we are trying to find out the cause. Now if you say to anybody that you believe in Jesus, his blood will save you, meaning there's no connection. What is connection between his blood and my blood? Or you do certain things, certain things will happen if they say. We are not going into the cause and effect behind it. We are not going to the merit of that practice. But if you tell somebody you do this and that will happen, that does not inspire him. So that is why even youngsters turn away from religion after a while, because till you are a child, you will follow because you have no other choice. But once they grow into teenagers, then they sort of turn anti-religion because of the pressure and force that is applied. Why? Because we are constantly even told that you must think, you must, that type of a scientific thing is there in general. All over the world it is there. That has been the real progress I am talking about in general. So if you talk about religion in this age, what will be the most suitable is probably Vedanta. With this as the base, that is why this topic is called as Vedanta as the base of all religion. It has nothing against any religious practice of any religion for that matter. You can continue to do whatever you continue to do according to your community, your family and other rights. You can continue. But the base of all that is to be this understanding. So, and that it will appeal to people because Vedanta is very scientific in its approach. It is asking you to even inquire into the truths of Vedanta and find out the truth by yourself. That is what is the ultimate proof, isn't it? The ultimate proof is not the quotation from Newton and Einstein. You must know it for yourself. So like that, Vedanta excels, he says, in its scientific exposition. Nobody can claim it to be his or hers. It is there as a natural thing for you to understand and apply it in your life. Now, this must be the method of education. The method of education is that you are exposed to this, then you experiment it and find it, and ultimately you realize the self also. So here the author says, in due course of time, many people who were very intentionally very right, they brought about the explanation of the truth from a particular angle. We can even say that sometimes it was necessitated by the age where they were there and what was required for them. But the impact of that was that people became sort of blind followers. This method of inquiry, this method of thinking, this method of liberal education towards that is lost. So here is an important statement that he says that Vedanta helps you, trains you to think independently. That must be the aim of all religions. See, what is the test is that one of the sayings in Sanskrit, it says, Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye. That is real education which actually liberates you. So the purpose of any education, the purpose of any learning is actually opening up. It is to liberate you. That is the real purpose of all education. It should really free you. You know that we are in ignorance and the knowledge must actually free us. So Vedanta trains you to think independently. So without compromising on whatever you want to do and continue as your ritual or something, we can say Vedanta adds meaning to all these things. If a person is worshipping deities in the temple, if the person is doing certain rituals at home, if you are going to church every Sunday, all that is fine. You continue to do it. But if you are able to understand as to why you are doing this, and if you are able to get the spirit behind it, you will be able to do it with inspiration. See, that's the test. The test is that many people say, this you have to be very careful also as Vedanta students. We started attending Vedanta, absolutely all the erstwhile bhakti and other thing, nothing is there now. And so it should not be that you are neither here nor there. What should be there? And I am also not recommending that you do all the rituals or what, but whatever is inspirational and whatever you need to do, certain minimum things that you need to do, you should continue to do. But the question is, are you able to, after reading all the symbolism and other things, now you are only looking at Ganesha, this and that, intellect and mind, and why you are not able to visualize Ganesha as the absolute reality? I would say that type of earlier ignorance was better, that you are able to visualize Ganesha as divinity and have an emotional connection with him. That is much better actually. No, this is intellect, this is mind, this is wisdom. And then what you do? It is not collection of certain parts that is sitting there. So eventually the study, this is the test, the study must bring out that feelings in you. And the actions that you do, if it is out of that feelings, that it will be good. It will be more inspirational. So that is what is the role of Vedanta. It trains you to think independently. Haven't we seen even in various cases that some rituals and some puja or something is initiated by the father as a part of samskar, and I would say that is also required at a very early age. But that the son doesn't do all those things. But later in life, where he hears some other lecture, and then he also understands and relates it to his own tragedies and other things in life. When he takes it up by himself later on, he continues to do it. He continues. So anything that is externally imposed will be there for a while, but it has to be coming from within. And this is the essential purpose, he says, of Vedanta, that it trains you to think independently. So you need not, you take all the help from the masters and other thing for your own benefit, but never leave this independent thinking. And what is this independent thinking? That we will see later, because independent thinking and original thinking, we always use this term, but this also has to be understood properly.
The root cause of suffering is that people do not look within, hardly investigate the truth of life, nor exercise their own judgment. They rely on outside forces to do their thinking and function predominantly on blind faith and mechanical ritual. This is spiritual suicide. Castes, creeds and sects are the ghosts haunting the world. The role of Vedanta is to free you from infatuation to celebrities and educate you on the eternities. Thus, the great science of religion has been reduced to mere allegiance to personalities. The present religious systems are governed by maxim and mandates. There is a saying, grammar is the grave of language. Try to save the grammar, keep it invariable, the language will be dead. Just so, the rigidity of precepts and preceptors saps the vitality of religion. The intelligentsia, particularly the youth, the world over, detest rigidity. They do not wish to be dictated to by doctrines and dogmas. They revolt against such unnatural education. Young men and women ought not to be pestered with thou shalt and thou shalt nots. What is forced is never forceful. Do's and don'ts are not designed for human beings. Desire for anything increases with restriction and prohibition. Static precepts, superstitious beliefs, and mechanical rituals are being thrust on people. It frustrates them. Rather, they need to be educated with the knowledge of life and living. The higher values of religion have to be presented systematically and logically to the modern intellects. The philosophy of Vedanta answers the requirements of seekers of truth. The process may take time, but it is sure to elevate them.
Here are some beautiful statements that are given, worthy of contemplation. The role of Vedanta is to free you from infatuation to celebrities and educate you on the eternities. You will find that in the first chapter, the author uses powerful language, particularly to drive home the point that there should not be a selling of your personality to any any other personality. In other words, see, all over the world there will be a leaning, affiliation towards personality. It is very, very tough for some person to stand on the principles by his own. We do need. And this might also sound as though like something against, not really against, about the Guru and his role also. Okay. Guru is a personality and we need the guidance of the Guru. But it is being emphasized here because you have to understand that this book is being written in an age and it is appealing to all, particularly to the youth, as to the what is the essential purpose of religion. So the essential purpose of religion, okay, you have respect for the master. You have devotion towards him. That is very essential. Without that feeling, no knowledge is going to come through. Otherwise, why even Upanishad is talking about learning it from the feet of the Guru and offering him dakshina and serving him and various things that is there. But that master's aim actually is to make the student independent. Okay, so he is trying to make the student independent and there is a process given. So therefore, Guru and others are also has to be used as you will use a signpost. I am not reducing the prestige of a Guru. I am only saying what it is. So Guru actually leads you to God in that sense. See, Mata, Pita, Guru, Deva means Pita leads you. Mata shows who is the Pita, who is the father. Father shows who is the Guru and he hands over that person to a very responsible person. And what is the role of a Guru? Guru should hand over you to God, as it were. So that is how the process is there. But unfortunately, because of whatever be the reason, the intellectual fatigue or whatever it is, we tend to get infatuated about personalities. And then we miss the essential truth, which is the eternities. And also, I leave these things for you to think about. Very nicely it is said, desire for anything increases with restriction and prohibition. Whatever is forced is never forceful. These are very much essential for introducing the knowledge, spirituality for the youngsters, for the children here. Yeah, thank you very much. Namo Paramahansa.
Poornam Adah Poornamidam Poornat Poornamudachyate Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.